As he had done at Maidum, Snefru built his last pyramid less than a mile away. Today, when the sun hits it, it appears red. All indications are that it was a total success. The burial chamber is stable, and it stands as the first true pyramid in history. There are signs that Snefru had to economize a bit to make sure that the Red Pyramid would be ready for his burial. It's smaller than the Bent Pyramid, and its sides slope at a conservative 43 degrees. In the Red Pyramid, Snefru finally solved his engineering problems. It's here that his mummy was laid to rest. Centuries after his death, pious priests of the cult of Snefru were placing bread and beer here for the soul of the pharaoh, so that he might have life, prosperity, stability forever. From the disasters of the Maidum and Bent pyramids, Snefru and his workers learned the art of pyramid building. At Maidum, they learned the necessity of binding the outer casing blocks securely into the mass of the pyramid, a lesson they carried out so successfully at the Bent Pyramid that the outer casing stone is still in good condition today. At the Bent, they discovered how to create large internal spaces with the use of corbelled ceilings. And they also learned the problems this can cause. It's from Snefru's pyramids that the ancient Egyptians developed the skills to cut, move, and fit large blocks of stone to build the pyramids of Maidum, Dashur, and eventually the greatest pyramids of all at Giza. Snefru and his family were a tightly knit group who worked together and achieved remarkable results. Snefru had at least 5 sons, and he made some of them the viziers of Egypt, keeping the power close to him, establishing a family trust that was to extend throughout his life. In addition to holding the post of vizier, several of Snefru's sons became architects. The Snefru brothers were really in the construction business. One of the most famous is Ankaf, the architect of the second largest pyramid on the Giza Plateau. Ankaf's brother, Hemienu, became vizier to another brother, the pharaoh Cheops. Hemienu was probably the architect of the Great Pyramid. Ra-Nefer, one of the sons who didn't go into pyramid building, was only a high priest and general of the army. He was the family underachiever. This is an amazing family that produced amazing results. The effect of the brothers growing up with a father obsessed with pyramid building is clear. You can imagine the sons accompanying their father, first to view the progress of the Maidum Pyramid, then the Bent Pyramid, and finally the Red Pyramid. The passions of the father were truly passed to the sons. Snefru's most famous son, by far, was Cheops, his successor, who is remembered today as the pharaoh who built the Great Pyramid, one of the 7 wonders of the world. The Great Pyramid is really Snefru's legacy to his son. This amazing monument couldn't have been built without the problems having been solved and lessons learned during Snefru's incredible building career. If there's one trademark to be found in Snefru's 3 pyramids, it's the corbelled ceiling. This ingenious solution to distributing the weight of the stone blocks above the burial chamber is what made it all possible. From the cautious start at Maidum to the spectacular ceilings of the pyramids of Dashur, it was just a small step to its ultimate expression here in the Grand Gallery of the Great Pyramid of Cheops. One of the great interior spaces of all time, the corbelled roof runs for 153 feet and makes the gallery seem even higher than its actual 28 feet. In the burial chamber, Cheops outdid his father and hid from view his unique solution to the problem of protecting the roof from the incredible weight above it. The granite slabs that form the ceiling couldn't possibly support the pyramid above without some means of distributing the weight. To see Cheops' solution, you have to climb through a hole in the very top of the Grand Gallery. This is the secret to why the roof of the burial chamber didn't collapse. I'm directly above the burial chamber, in a low room that was designed to take the pressure off the roof of the burial chamber beneath me. Above me are 4 other chambers, pretty much like this one. And on top of them, there are 2 huge slabs that form an inverted V, taking even more pressure off the burial chamber. It's a kind of corbelled roof that's been streamlined. Snefru would have loved it. The relieving chambers worked beautifully. 5,000 years after they were built, the burial chamber is still intact, virtually undamaged. If it weren't for tomb robbers, Cheops' mummy would still be here. Not only did Snefru pave the way for his son Cheops to build the greatest pyramid in the world, Snefru's pursuit of foreign trade ultimately provided Cheops with one of the most important things he would take with him to the next world. In ancient Egypt, everything moved either by boat or by donkey. Donkeys for short hauls, and boats for any great distance. In 1954, a boat was discovered, buried next to the Great Pyramid. It was 145 feet long and was built by Cheops from timbers brought back from Lebanon by his father, Snefru. The boat was found dismantled, but the cedar planks were still strong enough for the boat to be reassembled. Some of the timbers are so large that there are no cedar trees left on Earth that could replicate them. Typical of ancient Egyptian boat design, the planks were tied together. When placed in the water, the wood would swell and the ropes would shrink, sealing the holes and keeping water out. The boat didn't have a mast and sails, and only had oars to propel it. But what was the purpose of this boat? Was it used in real life by the pharaoh? Or was it intended for the pharaoh's last journey across the sky into the next world? To solve the mystery, I had a 7-foot model carved to the exact measurements of the pyramid boat for testing in a tank at the Webb Institute for Naval Architecture on Long Island. It's amazing how beautifully it glides through the water, leaving practically no wake.
Drag plus 13963.
Because there was no sign of a mast or sails on the boat, at first I thought the oars provided the power. But computerized tests showed the boat's oars couldn't possibly have generated enough power to propel it. In fact, the oars seemed to have functioned like a keel on a modern yacht to give the boat stability and direction. So how did the boat move, if not by oar or sail?
This is no heel, no yaw. Run 40. Okay, here we go. Okay.
We know that ritual boats were often towed in ancient Egypt, as they transported the body of the deceased from the east to the west bank for final burial. The 4,000-year-old cedar boat may well have brought the body of Snefru's son to the west for burial in the Great Pyramid. When the pharaoh died, his body would have crossed the Nile and landed close to where the Sphinx now stands. His body would have been taken a short distance to the Valley Temple, where it would have been carefully mummified. Exactly 70 days after he died, his mummy would have been taken up a causeway leading to his pyramid. Accompanied by priests chanting the ancient rituals, the body would have been laid to rest in the heart of the most astonishing monument humankind had ever created. The great era of pyramid building lasted only as long as Snefru's family ruled. His son built a great pyramid. His grandson, the second largest pyramid ever built, just next door. After that, the drive and energy to build such astonishing monuments faded, and later pyramids were just a pale shadow of their former glory. Ancient Egyptians looked back at the time of Snefru as their golden age. "700 years after Snefru's death, the pharaohs of the 12th dynasty returned to Dashur to build their pyramids in the shadow of Snefru's monuments. The mud brick pyramid of Amenemhet III, now eroded and crumbled, resembles an anthill in its broken state. They would never build a pyramid like this one again. When the Egyptians wanted to boast of something great, they would say, "Not since the time of Sneferu has its like been seen."